Welcome to the FIA and FIM main event here at Santipod Raceway in England. We have got 25 teams entered this weekend, chasing just 16 places in eliminations, with representatives from the UK, Sweden, Netherlands, Denmark, Switzerland, France, Germany and even as far afield as Russia. It's round one of the FIA Pro Modified Championship, but our teams will also be gathering points towards the Motorsport UK series, which kicked off back at the Festival of Power. We've got 2 full days of qualifying, then the all-important race day on Monday. New driver to the class is John Tebbenham, and we'll catch up with him later. Fan favourite Freddy Fagerström and the UK's own Wayne Nicholson back after tagging the wall in the Lucas Oil-backed Lucky Devil.
We are, yeah. The incident at Easter was caused by a tiny little oil fitting which came loose, and it was spraying oil under the left rear tyre during the burnout. So I came off the throttle in the burnout, touched the brake pedal, and the car hit the wall. And I was just sat there thinking, how did that happen? But we didn't realise till afterwards. Could have been a lot worse, if I'm completely honest with you, but it's given us the opportunity to put the sponsor's name back on the front. And we're here, ready to compete again. I believe there's 25 cars for a 16-car field, so there's going to be 9 people sulking a little bit come Sunday afternoon. I just hope it's not us, really. The race is to qualify first of all, and then after that we'll just see what happens.
And also great to see Dave Vector back from the damage at the door slammers.
Last week we did a burnout. I heard something going wrong in the engine in the burnout, and I switched it off myself. We brought it back to the tent, and we found that one rod kicked out, so it destroyed basically the engine, the bottom end. We loaded up the engine on Monday. We went to a machine shop in Holland and got it rebuilt, and now we're back. Yeah, we are going for the championship, and I think we have the stuff to do it. So.
Well, everybody getting ready ahead of the first qualifying session of the weekend. It's going to be so exciting. Massive crowd here, as always, at Santipod for the FIA and FIM events. So the first pair out in qualifying will be Marcus Perman from Sweden with the Camaro. That's the black car on the right side of your screen right now, up against Nick Davis after that trip into the field a few weeks ago. Marcus Perman opens his account with a pretty good looking run, 6:30 at 2:23. Nick goes storming through after building the revs up and runs a 6:47 at 2:29. However, when he pulls the chutes in the shutdown area, Marcus Perman has really got crossed up. You can see the car, there we go, bouncing down the shutdown area, and he goes nose first into the wall as Nick is flying after him. Marcus is absolutely okay. The car, sadly, a little bit second-hand. So 2 UK regulars up next. Bert Englefield back in the seat of the hot rod, taking on Bobby Wallace. Now, interestingly, Bobby has the big inch engine on board this weekend, so they're looking to step it up nice and slowly and try and increase the performance for the Willis. Opens his account with a 6:22. Bert goes 6:18 at 2:30. But Bert gets crossed up in the shutdown area as well. You can see smoke and dust as well. And watching from the view up in the tower, Bert does a great job of getting the car down the track. That's one of his quickest ever runs. Goes through the finish line, pulls the chutes, but then the car goes it's almost like a carbon copy of Marcus Perman's accident, actually, just in the other lane. That, sadly, would put pay to the Hot Rods racing weekend. Well, Freddie burning out to the finish line just to check the shutdown area is okay before he goes and makes a run. Good to see him back. So good to see him back after all the issues. In this run alongside Mats Eriksson with a not so green these days Goblin. Mats goes 6:18, Freddie 6:23. Nice strong side-by-side run with no one in the wall, thank goodness. Far side, Jean Delemont taking on. Whoa, getting very close to the centre line was Michel Turenne. Jean Delemont, new personal best at 6:29. Excellent way to open his account after a horrible weekend at Easter. so many fantastic cars. One we've never seen before in the UK on the far side with a turbo machine. Andreas Arthursen from Sweden taking on Jan Eriksson, who was here last week at the Door Slammers, putting in some stonking runs. And that's another one with a 589, 604 for Andreas. That's his first run ever here at Sandsburg as well. Last pair. Jimmy Orland taking on Mickey Gallquist. Mickey still struggling after last week at the Door Slammers. 586 for Jim. What a great opening run for the old 51. Not so good though for Mickey. So John Tebenham on what he hopes is his last licensing run, and what a licensing run it is. 624 at 230. You might even get in the show with that one as well. Huge crowds here, as I said before, at Santapod, watching some amazing racing this weekend. One man looking to improve on his Q1 ET, however, is Sweden's Mickey Gallquist.
We have to manage the power all the time, and with the converter you can do it a bit differently, and that's what we're hoping for, being able to get up to speed.
Does it mean different driving off the line? Because obviously it's going to launch very differently.
Yeah, it's typically a converter car is going faster from the start line to half track, and then you lose some on the top end, so you better have a very good 8 mile time in order to get there.
So now we're going to show you a couple of runs from qualifying session number 2. We heard from him earlier, Wayne Nicholson with the Lucky Devil, repaired front end with the Lucas Oil livery on it as well, looking pretty good. Nice A to B run for the Lucky Devil team in the show for now with a 666 at 210. John Webster taking on Kim Christiansen. Kim has to back out of it. John follows the centre line all the way down with the turbo car to a 637 at 233. Quite a few changes on board on that car as well, just from last weekend at the Door Slammers. Nick Davis against Dmitry Samarukov, and Dmitry on the far side with a Camaro. Doesn't leg it all the way through, but still manages to go 634 at 198. That was a pretty good run. Early shut off for Nick. Mats Eriksson and Jan Eriksson trying to improve on their numbers. Jan clicks it early. Mats goes 597 back into the fives. First time in the fives as well for that car for Mats Eriksson. So there's still some big names outside the top 16 qualified field with just 2 more sessions to go. But for now, it's a double duty in Jimmy Orland at the top of the tree.
At the moment, number 1 qualifier in Pro Mod, number 2 in Pro Stock. I guess you're fairly happy with the way the cars are going. Is it proving difficult to jump from one to the other, because you're obviously getting each one going well?
Yeah, well, you got to think when you drive one of them. Well, you got to think when you drive both of them, actually. But Pro Stocker I made so many runs in, so that's easier for me. And not saying that it's easy, but they started real nice. Made a good run with 51. Made a decent run with this one. Second round we had a timer failure for the shocks on the 51, so we didn't go anywhere, which was a shame. Pro Stock we picked up, but we didn't pick up enough. Malmgren passed us in the qualifying order, so they could be a little bit better. We know we got a handle on 51. It was just one of those freak things that happens.
Which is the most fun to drive?
They're both fun in different ways. I mean, the Pro Stocker is like you really gotta do everything 100%. Otherwise, it shows up on the scoreboard. The Pro Mod is a little more forgiving, but yeah, they're both fun to drive in different ways, you know.
So, newly qualified and straight into the field is John Tebenham. We caught up with his crew chief, Luke Robinson.
Yeah, it's going really well actually. John's doing a great job of driving the car. You know, couldn't ask for a better learner driver, as it were. You know, the setup's coming on. I think there's a little bit more to come yet. The biggest thing for us is if we could qualify this weekend, it would be amazing. And 624, I think we're going to need a bit more to qualify, if I'm honest.
But even so, especially looking at the fact he's driving in 2 classes this weekend, he hasn't done bad to get down to that sort of consistency and in just 1 week, has he?
No, he's driving 2 cars in one event, 2 cars which are so polar opposite to each other. It's not easy, and it's a stretch on resources, shall we say, but he's doing really good. So we're all having fun, we're all happy, and that's the main thing.
The first qualifying run was good, but we are a little behind, of course, but the car is really new and we need to adjust a little more. But this was a good run to work from, so we can hopefully make it a little better.
Now, I know we still say so-and-so's done a 5, that's really good, and it is really good, but we've got to remember that it's quite a few years since you did the first ever 5, and there's actually quite a few cars now who are capable of that, so really you need to be looking quite a few tenths quicker than that. So do you think that's going to be in this car for this weekend, or are we looking still long term?
This car has the potential, the engine has the potential. It's just up to us now to prove that and adjust the car, but we feel we have a little still there to learn and adjust, and to listen to the car, what the car wants us to do. So that take a couple of runs.
So it's all those years since Mats ran the first 5 in Europe, actually 10 years ago, and the top 5 cars, including him, are all in the 5s already. So they're all getting ready for the last 2 qualifying sessions. This is when it gets very nervous, because there's people on the outside that you really wouldn't expect to be. Freddie Fagerström getting himself suited and booted in probably the world's most famous Pro Mod pickup truck. And after the horrible fire that he suffered back in his workshop over the winter, it's great just to see him. Nick Davis and Jan Eriksson lining up first, both looking to improve. Jan Eriksson already in the 580s, and he goes 592 this time, but a 613 new personal best for Nick Davis. Well done to him. David Vegter taking on Marcus Hill. Dave with his first full run since all the engine problems, and it's a beauty. 580, 240 miles an hour. He now has Europe's quickest blown door car.
Yeah, it was. Especially until the 8th mile, it was really, really fast.
That puts you, I think, as the fastest blower car in Europe. So is there more in the car for eliminations, or are you going to leave it as it is?
No, we're gonna try to step it up, try to dip into the 7s.
Is a temptation to go a little bit too far? Because when you get into eliminations, the last thing you want to do is blow those tyres away.
Yeah, you have to be a bit careful. I want to be a bit careful, take it step by step, and we still don't know too much about the fuel system, so we need to make small steps.
So one of those that's not in is the winner back at the Festival of Power, Kev Slyfield. That looks like a much better run, but just runs out of gears. Unfortunately, 680 at 148 will not get him in the show yet. For Kev Slyfield, he's got one more attempt. Another man not in. Unbelievably, Mickey Gallquist. He's up against Peter Kuhnke in the far lane. Now, Peter was bumped out by David's run earlier. Now, Peter needs to make a representative run, but he clicks it before the finish line. That's much more like it for Mickey Gallquist. His best run in 2 weekends here, a 6 flat. Now, normally he wouldn't be too overjoyed with that. I think after that one he might be. Dmitry Samarukov looking to go quicker than that early clicked off 6.3. Wow, and goes right out of shape. John Webster, another strong run for the Mustang at 640, 230 miles an hour. I'm sure he was looking for more than that. That car makes its characteristic move left, and he dragged it back quite nicely. Mats Eriksson and Bobby Wallace. Mats already in the 5s. Bobby actually out in front of the Green Goblin, and only a couple of car lengths for the blown car at the finish line. Good run for Bobby, 627 at 213. So going into the 4th qualifier, there's still plenty of names on the outside looking in, including, unbelievably, Roger Johansson. Mickey G, however, did what he needed to do and is safely in with a 6 flat.
Yeah, well, we struggle a lot. We try a lot of things with this new combination with the converter drive, so and we don't really know what it wants yet, really, but it seems to be we calmed it down for the last run and could get down the track anyway. Not very fast, but fast enough.
I'm struggling a little bit, but we changed a couple of things for this run. Hopefully we don't shake the tires.
Have you been making changes over the winter? Are you looking to step up a bit?
The only change we did was the new boost controller with lower boost.
What's your thoughts on the way everybody else is going faster and faster? Because you can't just stand still. You've got to do something, haven't you?
And it's fun. Everybody stepped up during the winter.
Nail-biting times for some of our teams as we move into the fourth qualifying session. We've been weather affected here on the second qualifying day. We didn't know whether we were going to get this qualifying session in, but you can see behind all of them getting ready, blue skies, brilliant racetrack. So this is last chance saloon for quite a few of these guys, and two of them are right here, Kev Slyfield and Wayne Nicholson. Well, Wayne's not going to get in. Unfortunately, the car doesn't really move off the start line. Kev is not going to do it either. What a shocker. Your winner at Easter with loads and loads of 6.0 second runs, and he doesn't make it in the show, unfortunately. That has big implications for the MSA Championship. Two other drivers not in, Norbert Kuno, Kim Christiansen. These two are potentially 5-second cars. Kim Christiansen's been there a number of times. Norbert's been in the 6.0s. Well, Kim's on a good one. Norbert, unfortunately, though, way out of shape and slams into the wall. Kim Christiansen gets in with a 5.97. Norbert Kuno, though, probably has a bit of a headache after that whack into the wall, unfortunately. Norbert is absolutely A-OK. We can see it again in replay. The car shakes, goes all kinds of out of shape. He does a real good job of hanging on to it, but there's just about the point of no return. Thank goodness for concrete walls to keep the cars in. The car launches to the left. He tries to hang on to it. Norbert is a very experienced Pro Mod driver, but even he couldn't quite hang on to that one. It's a great shame as well. Comes all the way from Germany and goes home with a busted up race car. Talking of a long way, Dmitry Samarukov, last chance to get in, and the same for Roger Johansson. Dmitry all over the place. Even makes Stefan Bowman move by the looks of that one. That takes a lot of doing. 5.91 for Roger to get him into the qualified show on his last chance as well. But Dmitry, look at that tyre spin. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another one, 6 big shimmies on two wheels, heading for the guardrail, but he's got the presence of mind to bring it round and get it stopped. Unbelievable drama. Well, Freddie Fagerstrom goes before the tree is activated. Doesn't get any laps time, and neither does Jean Delemont because he didn't stage. These two drivers really want to step up as well. Mark Hartvelt with the Voodoo Hemi, Nick Davis. What a great race. Mark Hartvelt with his first ever 5-second run at a 5.95.241. Nick Davis with another fantastic 6.1 second ET. But this one was all about the Voodoo Hemi guys. After hitting the wall last May at the Door Slammers, they are absolutely overjoyed. Michel Turenne and Mickey Gallquist. Michel is already in the 5s with one of his previous runs. Can he do it again? Storming pair again. 5.93 and 5.91. Quickest ever for Michel Turenne, and Mickey Gallquist really getting a handle on the converter setup in the Camaro. You don't want to give that guy too many runs because he'll beat you, as he always does. Well, everybody on the Pro Dutch team looking very relieved. That's the shock expert Adam Lambert looking quite pleased with life too. Jan Eriksson and Mats Eriksson. Mats gets out of it early. What can Yanni do on his last qualifier? Improves again. 5.84 at 2.43. Just terrific bunch of qualifying runs. So with that run, Jan Eriksson moved up to the number 2 spot. However, one of these two could well take over the number 1 spot. David Vector is there at the moment with a 5.80. Jimmy Orland, however, would have to run a personal best. Andreas Arthurson would need to go into the 5.7s. He's been there before. Well, this one's all about Andreas. What can he do with the Turbo Chevelle? 5.86 at 2.42. He had the shoots at before the finish line as well. That car is nothing but impressive. Watch again in replay. That car just hooks and goes. It's the pedal to the metal gang at the top of the tree for the first time ever, I think, at an FIA event. Huge congratulations to him and the quickest ever blower car run. And our friends from Russia are in at number 18. But after those Q1 crashes for Marcus Perman and Bert Englefield, that will probably see them getting into the show. The top is so tightly bunched, the top 10 qualifiers in the 5-second zone. One man who's very pleased with this weekend's racing so far is the Voodoo Hemi's Mark Hartveld.
Yeah, it was an awesome run. We work enorm hard for this, and when it came 5.9 we didn't know, but we put everything in, and now we finally run a 5.9 and a 5.95. So that's very good.
It's not that long since you actually brought the car out, is it?
No, it's the second weekend, so I think 6 runs on it, and now in the 5. So
yes, it was really awesome to go in the 5s again and do it again today. So picking up ET and speed as well. So unbelievable.
And there's a lot of cars in the 5, so you need to be able to do it consistently. Now you need that to have a chance, don't you?
Yes, you see, like I think the first 10 cars are 5.9s and 5.8, so everybody has to step up. So
looking forward to eliminations tomorrow.
Yes, we're looking really forward to it. So it's going to be exciting, I think, tomorrow. Yes.
Exciting as well for Roger Johansson.
Well, Roger, going into that final qualifying session, you weren't qualified, but what an exciting session it was. You pulled it out.
Yeah, we were a little bit lucky, but we were quite confident if we go down we're going to make some good number, but it's always nervous.
Was there any reason why you seemed to be struggling up till then?
No, we have changed some parts on the car, and took a while before we figured it out. And during the test, we had problem with the intake on this engine we're running, and so we lost everything, all the possibility runs we could have at the testing. But yeah, now we're here.
So it's on to race day, what everybody's been building up to over the last couple of days. All the testing, none of it matters now. It's all about what you've got in the tank for round 1 and as we move on during race day. Now the thing is, we were, as I mentioned earlier, weather affected during qualifying on the second day. We have the same kind of threat today. You can see everybody with jumpers and coats on. It's not that warm, it's warm enough, but conditions different again for round 1, which are always early on in the morning on race day. You can see some black clouds behind, but all being well, we're going to get race day in here at Santopod for the first round of the FIA Championship and round 2, obviously, of the Motorsport UK Pro Modified Series 2. Now, Dmitry Samarukov is in the show. He will be racing in round 1. As we move on with our first pair, Mats Eriksson and Mark Hartveld. 2 5-second cars matching up in round 1. We have never had that in European competition before. And Mark Hartveld is so happy that he is one of those 5-second cars as well. Actually, he out-qualified Mats Eriksson by a couple of hundreds. This is so evenly matched, it's unbelievable. So Mats Eriksson with the black and white Goblin. Mark Hartveld with the Voodoo Hemi. Both away together, dead even as well, but Mats pulls it out in the last half of the racetrack, 6.12, 6.27, and looks like some engine damage, unfortunately, from Mark Hartveld. Still a great weekend for the Voodoo Hemi team. 2 more 5-second cars. This is so cool to be saying this in round 1 as well. Michelle Turenne taking on Kim Christiansen with the Firebird on the far side. Michelle was the better car in qualifying, but Kim Christiansen and that Firebird, normally a very consistent, just not so this weekend, shook the tyres and spun them off the start line. Looks like a bit of damage as well at the top end. But a 5.97 win for Michelle takes him into round 2. Mickey Gallquist against Nick Davis. Now when Nick and Rob got back into Pro Mod, this is the kind of race that they wanted when they got back into it. They probably didn't expect it in round 1, but you know, it is what it is. They were in the 6.1s, Mickey G was in the 5.9s. Well, big hole shot off the start line, a very big hole shot for Nick Davis, but unfortunately picked the wrong time to spin the tyres. Mickey Gallquist Didn't need another invitation. 591 into round 2. Well, Dmitry Samorukov with his first weekend in that really nicely turned out Camaro from Russia. He did run in the 5s in testing in Bradenton before he shipped the car back to Europe. This is his first ever competition race in the car, taking on Roger Johansson, who pulls a big hole shot off the start line. Dmitry with smoke coming out the engine. Oh, and a big bang and a fireball. That's thankfully an unusual thing to see for a door car. Roger Johansson takes the win, but Dmitry with lots of smoke coming out of the car. The onboard fire extinguishers doing their thing as he slows down at the top end. The accident and emergency teams right on the scene. That will chalk up a win to Roger Johansson on a hole shot. Well, a big hole shot as well, but Dmitry really gave it everything he could in that race. You can see the bang and the boom at the finish line, and the fire then just erupted, unfortunately for him. Well, he had a real good chance against Roger there. Even on fire, he still nearly pipped him at the finish line. We've only got a couple of weeks to get it fixed for round 2 of the FIA Series in TF as well. Jimmy Orland, with the old 51, defending European champ, takes on one of the UK's finest in the nitrous car, Bobby Wallace. The family looking to get quicker and quicker with a new big engine on board, and he leaves on the European champ by quite some margin actually. Horsepower of the old 51 is the difference at the other ends, 588 to a 628 for Bobby. Freddie Fagerstrom, again so good to see Fred back. He repaired the truck after some horrible damage, a fire at his workshop out there in Stockholm, and then came over here for the door slammers. Unfortunately busted 2 engines in 2 consecutive passes. Getting a bit more like it though this weekend. Andreas Arthurson though back on form. 581 beats Freddie's nearly best ever 606 at 232. The good news is so far the weather has held off. We hope it does for the rest of proceedings as well. John Tebenham taking on Jan Eriksson. They're on board with JT in his first competition run ever in this car. Well, Jan Eriksson making no mistake on the start line and takes a 587.242. Really good effort though for JT with a 633. It would be nice if it was a 5. Doing a really, really good job of driving that car, John. So your number 1 qualifier. It was pretty much a one-hit wonder for Dave though, and the pedal to the metal team. They made 1 test pass, 1 really good 580 run, and nothing much for the rest of qualifying. Pretty much the same can be said of Jean Delemont, with 6:29 in the opening session, but didn't make a full power run, well, not a timed run anyway, during the rest of qualifying. So David with the performance advantage, but he's got to pull it out now in round 1 against Jean. And he pulls a big hole shot as well, nicely done. And it will be the blown car way out there in front. 6:01 to a 6:30, nice and consistent for Jean Delemont. Still a good weekend for the team. So we're on to round 2. It's a bye run for Mats Eriksson. Problems for Dave Egter between rounds. Mats makes the most of it. Gets a good test launch and trickles through to a 7:30, would you believe? Up next we got Roger Johansson with the nitrous Mustang against Jimmy Orland with the old 51. It's all Swedes apart from a couple of Dutch guys in this round 2 set of races here at the main event. Now these two are pretty evenly matched. Jim's been in the 580s, Roger's been in the 590s. However, last year he was in the 570s. He went 579 to record the quickest ever run by a nitrous car outside of the US, and the quickest in Europe, needless to say. Great off the start line, very, very even indeed as they go down track. Roger gets slightly out of shape over towards the centre line. has to back out of it, and Jim takes it with a 587 to a real hard trying 597. Well, would you believe it's another bye-run? No Michel Turenne, both Dutch cars, no shows. 585 at 241. He's going to be so tough to beat this summer. So the last pair, and it's all Swedes. Well, it will be all Swedes in the semi-finals because the last pair is 2 Swedes in round 2. Mickey Gallquist getting closer and closer to the setup he wants for the Camaro against that pesky turbo car of Andreas Arthurson. We're so glad he made the trip over here to join us at Santa Pod for the main event. But he goes red on the tree. The car just not behaving as he wants it to. Gets to the stripe first, but it was an ill-gotten game. 596 for Mickey G.
Well, Jan, the car has been flying all weekend, had a solo in that last round, but something's gone wrong.
Yeah, we lost the spark plugs that fall down in the cylinder and destroy. We don't know how much, but we don't take it apart now. We wait until we come home and fix it until TR.
Apart from that, you're obviously happy with the way the car is going. It's very competitive.
Yes, I'm really happy that we start finding we are working really hard with the chassis over these 2 weeks we have been here. So, yeah, the car seems to start working fine now. Now we can start tuning it for real.
Well, Mats, I know you said at the start of the weekend when we spoke to you, yeah, we're just testing really, we think we've got more power. Well, you've found yourself in the semi-finals already, so you must be fairly pleased with it.
Yeah, we are pleased with that because we are testing the new car and have a lot of problems with it. Actually, the track is really sticky and we have a lot of power, but we haven't it in right order yet. Have a little luck in the last run. We get a solo, so we are in the semi-finals. So we're real happy. So we have one more test run for us.
In an ideal world, if you had access to the track, how many runs would you really like to get before you can say, yes, I think we've got this dialed in?
But if we had a track and could run really, hopefully 10 runs should be enough, I hope.
Well, it's nice to hear Mats is treating a race against a defending European champion as a test run. However, I know exactly what he means. Is the car's still far from where they want it to be. Actually, saying that, he's pretty close. He's in the 5.9s, but to be frank, you kind of need more than that in European Pro Mod these days to be right up there. However, Mats is in the semi-final, so you can't knock it with a couple of 6-second runs, taking on defending European champ Jimmy Orland with the old 51. Magnus and the team still doing a great job with that car. We have had some weather delays as well, it has to be said, but the excellent Santa Pod track crew done their magic as usual, and we're on with the semi-finals of Pro Mods. Away together, looks like, well, a lot of shaking and a lot of pedalling going on. Max Eriksson's out in front. Max Eriksson takes the stripe. 6.18 at 2.32. They won't be delighted with the ET, they will be delighted with the win lights. On the other side of the ladder, though, as we already heard, no Jan Eriksson. Mickey G gets another tune-up run. The last thing you want to give this guy is too many runs, because he will nail it down and he will beat everybody. He's proved it so many times before. It's another 5.92 at 2.45. Considering the converter car is supposed to be slower at the top end, it's certainly not showing it. So your Pro Mod final late in the day. Again, another weather delay. Another great effort from the track crew to finish up proceedings here. Mickey Gallquist been in the 5.9s, Mats Eriksson been in the 6.0s and the 6.1s on race day. He hasn't pulled out a 5-second run actually on race day. Now would be a great time to do it against Mickey Gallquist. I think the odds would have been pretty long on Mats Rietvich in the final. Saying that, probably for Mickey Gallquist as well, even though he's been multi-time European champion. The car's just not been behaving itself over the last couple of weeks. However, it is now. Here we go then, your final in Pro Mod, 2 black and white cars. Mats Eriksson leaves before the tree is activated. It's a victory parade for Mickey G with his quickest run in a long while. 5.83 at 2.45. Never, ever count that man out. Unbelievable.
Well, we struggled a bit in the start of the weekend, but I think we sorted it out pretty well in the end. So.
So obviously now you're really going to start tuning that setup, because obviously you've just been trying to get it down the track, I guess. So there's a lot more to look out for over the season.
Well, you never know. We had really some luck today, and we got a bye round in the right place, and but we need some flow. If you're going to win one of these events, you need to have some luck too.
Our drivers have been gathering points for 2 championships at this event, and the FIA European Drag Racing Championship, it's Mickey Gallquist who takes the early lead. But in the Motorsport UK British Drag Racing Championship, Mark Hartvelt takes the lead from Kev Slyfield. Our next coverage will be the SPRC Summer Nationals back here at Santopod for the 3rd round of the Motorsport UK Championship. We'll see you then.